afternoon, Dental Internet World. My name is Dr. Vishal Sharma, and I'm here alongside my friend and colleague, Dr. Mike Parchewski, and you are listening to our podcast, Digital Workflow Dentistry. Mike, we are back from Dentsply Sirona World in Las Vegas. I believe it is Tuesday, but I'm not quite certain what day it is, and that tells you exactly how much fun we had at the conference. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Yeah, it was a great conference. And it didn't hurt that it was 36 degrees out, although it didn't help on that Friday late afternoon going to more lectures when it's that hot out and there's a pool close by. I don't know if you found that as well.
Yeah, and for our American friends, that's 36 degrees Celsius, so quite warm, balmy, hot weather. I believe in Fahrenheit, that's something in the equivalent of like 93, but I'm completely guessing with my inferior knowledge of the American imperial system. So yeah, it was. It's a tough venue to stay focused at, but it was a fantastic seminar. There was a lot of technology that was available on the trade show floor, and we were able to connect with a lot of colleagues that we haven't seen since before the pandemic. So to me, that was probably the highlight, is the personal connections with fellow instructors and the CERAC mentors. Mike, what were the highlights for you?
For me, I really enjoyed the opening session. They had a really good performance, really good show. One of the speakers that I found really useful was more on like a motivational speaker, Melanie Robbins. I found her topic, which was sort of the 5-second rule and making sure that you don't give your brain that time to talk yourself out of getting into action. Basically count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and just go. Don't think about it. So it was kind of interesting and inspiring. Technology wise, I did actually play around a lot with the MCX5 milling chamber, looking at full arch, digital scanning, full arch planning for implants and milling out full arch zirconia using that system. So that was kind of geeked me out a little bit, which was fun. And I really thought it was neat to see the new implant system, the Prime implant, which we'll be talking about more in upcoming podcasts as well, which basically it's an implant system with a coarser thread and will grab the bone better. So better immediate torque values so that you can immediately load, and also good for immediate extraction cases as well. How about yourself? What were some of the highlights for you?
Yeah, well, I thought the motivational speakers were fantastic, or the general sessions were really good. It was our first exposure to Prime implant, not yet available in Canada. So that was an interesting addition to the Astra EV workflow that you and I are so accustomed to and obviously hold near and dear. I was at the Primemill launch in Berlin just prior to the pandemic in January 2020. But this was actually the first conference where they've been able to showcase it to an international audience. So that was exciting to see the response from the general public on that. Of course, Tessera, which has recently been released in Canada and is now available commercially across our country, it was exciting to see that. And the educational value was good. I noticed that you left out Gwen Stefani from your list of highlights, which is very, very strange because you had that No Doubt t-shirt and we're just desperately trying to get her autograph, albeit unsuccessfully. But anyways, I guess 5 more seconds and you might have had that.
Well, I'm no hollaback girl.
Yes, you have that reputation of not being one. So, one of the other highlights for me was seeing my friend Mina Barsoom discussing the Suresmile workflow, specifically Mike, the do-it-yourself aspect, and just some of the pearls of wisdom he had about how he presents those cases, what he's doing beforehand for screening tools, etc., and how those conversations come up. So for us in our office, we in fact, today just had the hardware installed where we can pull up our Prime scans, at least to view only, not necessarily design, but in all the operatories, and that'll be exciting for us to incorporate with our hygienists. So talk about CBCT technology and what your thoughts are on the new Dentsply Sirona, relatively new Axeos system.
Well, first, you made a key point. You mentioned, got to see your friend Mina Barsoom. And I'll just reiterate, one of the biggest things for me about this conference was the socialization, being able to see people again. I've only been seeing a lot of the different key opinion leaders for Dentsply Sirona over Zoom calls and through lectures and in phone calls, really. So it was really nice to get to see people again. I found myself kind of getting lost on the exhibit floor, catching up with different people. Almost was like a blur. It was nice, everybody's wearing masks and everybody felt safe there, but it was really good to see people's face to face again and to be able to chat with them, catch up on what's new, catch up on what they're lecturing on. So I found that really beneficial. Exactly the same as you. It was the first time, for the Primemill to be showcased live. It also was the first time for the Axeos X-ray to be showcased live. And so it was kind of really nice for me to see. I have the SL unit, so it was really nice to see the different features and some of the new tweaks and different programming that they're able to do with it. And then it was really nice because I haven't been able to play with very many of the actual Axeos images. So I was able to actually sit at one of the Sidexis computers and actually go through some of the Axeos images and to be able to look at the TMJ, see how much better you can see that in that 17 by 13 volume. So those are things that I just actually hadn't been able to get around to yet.
Yeah, interesting. It was a lot of fun on the trade show floor, certainly. And then just off the trade show floor, we were fortunate enough to corner a few of our colleagues to do some impromptu interviews for digital workflow dentistry. So we were fortunate to have Rich Rosenblatt from CEREC Doctors and Imagine Dental. He's been a long-time CEREC mentor, a long-time CEREC lecturer. He's a funny, engaging guy. So we have him, which is great. Also, of course, Andre Pellerin, a fellow Canadian dentist from Montreal, who is also a CEREC mentor, and he's been running, along with our colleague and friend, Dr. Valinder Dacey, the Thrive program, where they're concentrating on showing dentists how CEREC workflow initially works, dispelling some questions or myths or rumors around it, and really pushing the zirconia into CEREC workflow and how fast and efficient it is. And of course, then your friend and colleague, Erin Elliott from 3D Dentist, who's an expert in sleep. She was very engaging and gave a great interview. And we had a really good time doing that.
Yeah, it was great to see them and to be able to corner them, like you said, and interview them was really nice. It was definitely good. It allows, our listeners to get just an idea of what's happening currently in each of these key opinion leaders' fields. So we will actually go ahead and show those interviews right now. And you guys will get a little taste of what it was like to be at Dentsply Sirona World.
Yeah, so here we are introducing those videos. Thanks, everyone.
Good afternoon, Digital Workflow Dentist subscribers. My name is Dr. Vishal Sharma, and I'm here on site at Dentsply Sirona World 2021, along with my friend and colleague, Dr. Mike Parchewski. And we have an esteemed guest with us, Dr. Erin Elliott from 3D Dentist, who is an expert in sleep. Erin, welcome.
Thank you so much. Glad that we got to do this.
So Erin, tell us a little bit about what 3D Dentist does in the United States for the other dentists.
Yeah, so I am a practicing general dentist in northern Idaho. So way up by the Canadian border, I'm by you guys. And I was given the opportunity to basically take what I do in my practice with sleep and teach it. So 3D Dentist was started by Dr. Tarun Agrawal, or T-Bone as you might affectionately know him, and we are able to offer a 2-day, as much of a cookbook as we can do for other dentists and their team.
And what would you say is the number one thing that dentists need to overcome to incorporate sleep in their practices?
They need to overcome the myth that it doesn't work. I think, if this blonde chick in Idaho can do it, really anyone can. But I think there's so much, bad connotation to it. Just, it's hard, it's impossible, and they hear that because of medical insurance. But CEREC doctors tend to be more fee-for-service doctors and team-oriented, workflow-oriented. And so if we can just get the medical insurance even out of the discussion, I really think that it can really get through a lot of hurdles that most dentists have.
Yeah, it's interesting. In Canada, obviously, we don't
Yeah.
have the combination of sort of medical coverage and dental coverage nearly as much as in the States, but certainly we have some rough waters to navigate as well. So quickly walk us through the 2-day course. Give us a very brief synopsis as to what a participant can expect.
Well, I think you can really break down the sleep workflow into 4 steps. And oftentimes we head right to the last one, which is treatment. We focus on what appliance we're going to make. Well, really, if you don't have a patient to put the appliance in, it doesn't matter, right? So we start with awareness, and that is based off of health history, dental signs and symptoms. Those are the things that the team really, and hygienists especially, can identify and start the conversation. The second step is diagnosis. And we're huge proponents of even having your own home sleep test, if I can say that. Because once the patients see the test results, it's almost like they get not just ownership over that they may have an issue, but urgency if we do our job.
Yeah.
If we can take that data and turn it into patient language and hit their pain points. Then the third step is financial. And if we're not billing medical insurance like I do in my practice, and it's successful, but if we are doing fee for service, it's not necessarily a cost issue, it's an affordability issue. And we really talk about putting it on monthly payment plans. This same patient will go spend $8,000 on a mattress to sleep better, when really they just need oxygen, right? So I think it's us dentists not providing them an affordable way to make it happen.
I have one more question before Mike takes over. So you mentioned the team, the second component to that. So does the course offer the opportunity for hygienists to come in?
I think that's, we lower the price for team members. We encourage them. We'll call the doctor and say, you really should bring team. Every single time the doctor says, I should have brought my team.
So we found that the big part of it is bringing the team into the lectures, and that's when we're doing training on sleep, we're often incorporating all the team. And we've also actually started going in office and doing in-office training for teams. Then we can role play and go through the process.
And use their own patients.
And go through the process from front to back. Checklists, forms. Now, when it comes to screening, what are some of the key things that you're training the hygienists and assistants to screen for when we're looking at for sleep apnea patients?
We actually focus on avoiding overwhelm, because hygienists think I already have to bring my patient back, talk to them, teach them how to use the toothbrush again, scale, Cavitron, make their next appointment. And then the doctor, if they bring it up, then the doctor is going to be in there for another 15 minutes telling them everything they know about sleep. So we just simply ask, based off of their health history, the day before to identify their one patient. Let's look at hypertension, let's look at diabetics, hypertension and heart conditions. And believe it or not, the most commonly prescribed drug in our country is an antidepressant. So depression and then acid reflux, making sure we're asking over the counter. Identify the one patient of the day. That's our goal. Because the more you identify, the more you get into this funnel of going from awareness to diagnosis to financials to treatment.
Yeah, and in Canada, in some provinces, we're able to send out the sleep studies ourselves and have them read by a sleep physician. In your district, are you guys able, in your state, are you able to prescribe the sleep studies? Or
yes. We go by states here, just so you know. The only ones that have a hard and fast rule are New Jersey and Georgia. So again, we do try to make the workflow easy for patients, and the American medical system is too laborious, too hard to navigate, and patients give up way too soon. So getting into that test is important. So if you can't or don't feel comfortable providing home sleep tests, then there's third-party services that utilize telehealth, and that eliminates a lot of hurdles too.
And my last question for you is, given the big realm of all the different appliances that are available, we're seeing a lot of them at the show. Do you have a couple go-to appliances that you like to use?
I do. So ProSomnus and Panthera are my go-tos. But you need posterior teeth. So when I need an edentulous area for an appliance, then it's on the bed. I break it down to digital, milled or printed, and good labs to work with a 3-year warranty. I'm willing to spend a little up front to save time and headache chair side in
We
in the
of course
future.
love to hear that you like the digital side because that's what we're all about.
Yes.
And Panthera, shout out to the Canadian brand. Can you tell our subscribers where they can get more information on your courses?
3d-dentist.com, and I'm Erin Elliott, yes, on Facebook, Instagram, 2 L's, 2 T's.
A lot of useful information. We want to thank Erin for joining us, and we obviously learned a little bit about sleep, and we answered the age-old question: what do New Jersey and Georgia have in common? Apparently only one thing: strict sleep regulations. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Erin.
Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're still on location with Digital Workflow Dentists, and we have a very good friend of mine and probably the funniest lecturer that I know,
Second funniest.
Rich Rosenblatt. So Rich is a longtime CEREC mentor and instructor, and he's recently started with a DSO, an American DSO called Imagine. So Rich, tell us how the conference has been. Tell us what you're up to in the educational world.
Yep.
And what's going on with the DSO world.
First of all, it's great to be back, seeing you guys. I mean, I miss the interaction, just hugging people, so it's been great. It's great to see the turnout. I mean, the turnout's really been a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So just seeing all the bodies excited about doing dentistry and growing practices again has been pretty awesome. Me personally, just working like a dog, trying to keep my kids out of trouble,
Yeah.
and then we partnered with that part of my practice with the Imagine Dental partner. So that's been kind of the biggest thing for me. And this show was kind of our coming out party.
Yeah, and so what's the genesis of Imagine? Because obviously Mike and I with Digital Workflow Dentists, what we're discussing predominantly is digital workflows.
Mm-hmm.
So I know technology is one of the pillars of Imagine. So
Yeah.
tell us about that.
And you use the term DSO. We're actually what we call a DPO. So we're a partnership group. We're not so a company doesn't come in and buy my practice. I still own it. I'm a 40% owner in my practice now. They come in and partner with me. They take, so it's a 60-40 split. But I become an equity owner in the collective. So, but the big thing for us is we're all big time CEREC users, Codebeam users. We have that digital kind of understanding, that camaraderie, that community. We don't have a place to land when our practices are big, like our practices are. Where do we go? You know, where do we go? And these kids come out of school with all this debt. How are you going to sell it to somebody? So I needed an exit plan. And Michael Loggins, the ex-president of Sirona, Rez Manji, Imtiaz's son, Spear Education background, had this great idea to create a home for the digitally minded dentists. So it's all CEREC and Codebeam, and complete autonomy, no private equity in this at all, and it won't be any in the model. And it's just a way to diversify your income and like having to stop and having the practice. And so
Marching bands coming to support
So that is that's kind of been how. So and then the biggest thing for us is they want practices that want to grow. So a lot of these DSOs, people are coming in because they just want to get out.
Yeah.
We're coming because I just want to put my foot on the accelerator in my practice, and I have all those distractions of running the front, payroll, that kind of stuff. So they come in, handle all that stuff, and assign to your practice a person who is basically like a super consultant. And they look at 178 metrics in your practice. And so with doing that, they kind of customize the way you want to grow. So they don't tell you how to grow. They stay out of the clinical decisions, but they'll say, all right, here's a menu. Here's ways we can grow your practice with the value assigned to each one. And then you get to say, man, I'd love to do more clear aligners, and I'd love to. So you pick the two, and then they just create a complete education program to help drive me and my associate and my team all learning the same thing, rowing in the same direction. And we've gone from doing less than a liner a month to almost 5 a month. So it's just very focused on complete alignment and how we're going to grow. And then the beauty of everything is I have a defined exit plan. So now I get 10 years. I got 10 years left in my head to want to practice. I can tell you the exact date I'm going to retire because of this partnership.
So it's a DPO, not a DSO. The problem is in Canada, of course, we don't have the letter P in our alphabet, as Rich probably knows. So, and I know you got to get running. We appreciate your time. Just fill us in on what's going on in the Suresmile world and how your experience has been gravitating towards that platform.
Yeah, Suresmile was such a great change for my practice. I was in I was one of the big aligner groups. I've been using aligners for 17 years in my practice, and I always did some, but I did them. But all of a sudden, Suresmile came around. It was way cheaper. They had great education behind them. I have a Primescan. The other company wouldn't let me use my Primescan to do it.
We can resonate that with
Yep.
that. Yeah.
And I wanted to use that damn machine. And so we created a whole plan in our practice of how we're going to be able to do more aligners by scanning every patient and talking to every patient that's crowded and just telling them, we're going to give you a free kind of show to show you what your teeth could look like and be in better function. And our acceptance rates just gone through the roof by just using that digital aspect to bring it to the forefront to the patients and make it easy for them to say yes.
So we do a lot of digital exam, and that's what you're kind of talking about, is letting the patients know what's happening in their mouth at that first visit, so they can actually see it on the screen, see it live, see what their bite looks like. And I think that drives the whole Suresmile flow. Now, on the back end of the Suresmile, one of the big topics today that we've seen in the exhibit hall has been about 3D printing and doing the DIY process that's not available in other aligner systems. With Imagine and with your clinic, is that something you guys are implementing, the 3D printing side?
A lot of us have 3D printers. I mean, I don't know if every practice has a defined 3D printer. Most of us that are in early have one. And some of us do, like Mina Barsoom, who's one of our partners and big in the aligner space. He teaches a great digital workflow on like doing the smaller caseload, printing out 10 aligners or less, printing out the models, and then just doing it yourself. He also came up with a great workflow of using the first aligner. We can actually print the first model before we get the case back. You can actually have the aligner going before Suresmile actually sends the case back by utilizing that case and getting the STL file from that. I've been using it to try to sell cases on patients like, I don't know if I'll be compliant. I'm like, hey, I'll do a scan. We scan it. I make an aligner trial. I let them wear it for a week and see what that's like. Like, oh, that was easy.
Guys, I love that idea. Getting them into an aligner fast.
Yeah, let them know, because if they're scared they're not going to wear it and not going to be compliant, let you try one out. So we've been doing that, and it just gets them to think about it. They're like, maybe this gets into yes. I don't know. So that's been working nice too.
So Rich, most of our subscribers are Canadian, but where can our American subscribers go to if they're interested in hearing more about Imagine?
ImagineDentalPartners.com. So for any of the people down in the States, Lord knows, you know how much I love Canada. I've lectured by you guys for so many years. I love coming north of the border. My sister lives in a suburb of Montreal, so it's a country near and dear to my heart. And I miss getting up there and lecturing with everybody the way I used to. So yeah, Imagine Dental Partners. You can always reach out to me personally, richrosenblatt@gmail.com. That's a lot down there.
And if you get the chance to see Rich live in person, he is as engaging as he was in this 5-minute segment. So Rich, thanks for your time.
Hey man, always good to see you guys. All right,
thanks.
See you guys.
Take care.
Hey, man.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks. We're here with a fellow Canadian dentist, a good friend of ours, and a fellow CERAC user and instructor, Andre Pellerin. So Andre, tell us, how has the conference been for you? What education have you taken advantage of? And what do you see that's new and exciting in the Dentsply Sirona World?
So it's been amazing just to get out and see people. Of course, we're just coming on a year of being locked down, so to be able to see friends that we haven't seen for a year and a half, or seen each other's been virtually, so to reconnect with that community, which is a big, of course, as you know, is a big part of the CERAC world. And education, a lot of it's just talking to people and learning what's going on in other parts, what they're doing in their clinics, from other instructors.
Yeah.
So that's a wealth of knowledge and materials. That's some materials is a big one right now. There's a lot of stuff going on. And the speed of processing those materials. So zirconias, like we're talking about, the speed of the crystallization of the alcohol times. It's speed and efficiency.
Tell us about your Thrive program that you're offering in Canada, how that's working. Of course, you're doing it with a good colleague and friend of ours, Pellerin, who's been a guest on our podcast. So tell us about the Thrive program.
Yeah, so the Thrive program started with Dr. Desi. So I'll call him Wally. We call him Wally. So Wally, and we're going through, and it was the idea of it was just get good information out there, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions. And the Thrive program is to let the dentist touch the software. So this was virtual at the time. They could actually log on and use the software, see how easy it is. But also, and that's one of the misconceptions, we're just going through the materials misconceptions. So a lot of giving them good information, almost, and from our experience, but just really make sure that everyone's making an informed decision. That's a big part of it.
So now, just for everybody out there that's tuning in, Andre teaches at the new faculty in Canada, dentist in Montreal, teaches at the faculty. Just give us the two big questions I wanted you to answer for us is, one is, how's it been at the faculty? I know it's been a little strange with COVID, but what do you think of the faculty? Tell us about it. And I also want your big take. You were talking about new materials. The new Tessera crown is now available in Canada, so let's get your take on that crown as well.
Okay, so the Academy, it's an amazing facility to have in Canada. Of course, to go to a facility like this in the past, prior to the Academy, we had to travel. So they get that good education here in Canada from world level speakers. So to have that type of facility and that access, of course, cross border now, so things are tougher. So I think that's a great resource, not just for CAD/CAM, and not just for CEREC, but of course for implant. So it's going to be the epicenter, I think, of education in dentistry in Canada. And in terms of materials, to CEREC, so I started with glass ceramics in CEREC. So EMAX, of course, lithium disilicate, and prior I was using zirconia prior to getting into CEREC. So gold, I studied at Dallas, so it was a lot of gold, PFM, and then we evolved into zirconia. So what I like about Tercera, the block, and I'm just excited about, is it's got a lot of benefits of glass ceramics. It's got the looks and the bonding, but the strength in 5 minutes in the speed fire, right? So that's one where I think it's 700 megapascals. You got all the bonding options for retention. I think good aesthetics and super fast processing time. It's exciting.
Well, we obviously just started demoing the product within the last couple of weeks. Newly available in Canada. It's been around the States for a little bit. Mike's already gone through his entire intro demo kit.
Okay.
Just waiting to learn more. So yeah, it's certainly an exciting time in Canada with those products. The Academy, I would disagree with you respectfully on one thing. You said world-class speakers. And Mike's teaching at the Academy on December 3rd. So with the exception of that weekend, you're probably correct, but sometimes...
Yeah, then it's international level.
No, so that's, I don't know if you guys, it's been great. Thanks for asking some questions. It's good.
Yeah.
It's always a good time to...
Thanks for your time. I think it's happy hour right now. I see they're accumulating for some beverages over there, so we'll wrap up there. Thanks, Andre.
Yeah,
thanks.
Thank you.
So there you have it, 3 fantastic practitioners who were kind enough to take some time to chat with us. Unfortunately, it did sound like a Panzer tank was rolling through the hallway when Rich Rosenblatt was on there. But Mike, listen, when you're doing Showbiz Live and in Vegas, that's just sometimes the way it goes, you got to roll with the punches. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Our next presentation is going to be on case presentation, or our next podcast will be on case presentation. We're looking forward to that, and we'll see you at that. Please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, visit our website, and give us a follow on Instagram.
Yeah, don't forget, everyone, like or subscribe below at Digital Workflow Dentistry, our website, www.digitalworkflowdentist.com, and you'll be able to see some of the new upcoming lectures and podcasts that we will be bringing out to you. So everybody take it easy and be well.